one of the top experts in the world on sales.
King of collaboration.
He's on the cutting edge, and what he does works.
Jim Padilla.
CEO of Gain the Edge.
He is the leader when it comes to sales and conversions.
A sales and business coach to some of the biggest names in the country.
Jim Padilla is known as the go-to guy for all things sales.
Well, thanks everybody. Welcome back to the Make More Sales podcast, where it's all about helping you make more sales without having to become a sales rock star. So we can get you to help master self is the first step towards mastering sales. And we want you in control of your environment instead of letting your environment control you. Always remember that until you can master sales on command, you'll always be at the mercy of somebody else who can. And we're here to help be a partner with you to prevent that from happening. We have an interview today. I have a guest that I'm really excited to talk to. And I want to give you a little bit of a cautionary tale on this conversation. As most of you know, who've been following for any length of time, I do tend to lean a little bit conservative in my cultural and political perspective. I am a dyed-in-the-wool Christian. I'm a Bible-believing, a Christian. I roll with Jesus, and so most of my perspective tends to come from that lens. By no means am I perfect at living a Christian life, but that is the goal. And so the things that I see, I'm all about trying to conserve, the Constitution and what this great nation was and is at times and can be. And so while I know a lot of you that are listening, you may believe opposite to some of that. And nothing that is said here is intended to offend. It's just opening the door to more conversation and more dialogue. And I would encourage, if you agree with the things we're talking about, good on you. Look for, don't take anything that we say at face value. I want you to look it up and always try to get your own facts and your own truth to the facts that we talk about. But if it's more important, if you disagree, right? I'm a staunch 100% free speech absolutist. I believe that the only way to defeat bad ideas is with good ideas. And so if you disagree with somebody, hearing them out is the best way to be able to churn things around and provide a different perspective. And so I'm just asking you to hear things today and listen with an open ear, an open heart, an open mind. And then of course, reach out to us with any questions, comments, concerns, conversation, because we'd gladly get into that with you. So with that, I'm going to turn this over now. We'll get into our guest here. And I'm going to save the introduction piece for her. I'll let her tell you more about her and who she is and how she got here. But how this conversation came to be here, we're talking to an expert in business, an expert in 2 countries, which makes her double the expert of most people. Olga, and I hope I say this correct, Szakal. And yes. Okay, perfect. And she's got some great approaches to business, but she also has a very, a powerful story in life. And we're going to talk about her perspectives from where she is. And we were in a fairly political conversation thread, and I decided I wanted to invite her on to talk more about it here. So with that, let's turn it on over. Olga, say hello. Welcome to the Make More Sales community.
Thank you, Jim, for having me. I'm very honored. And I am a salesperson. I'm your ultimate sales of queen of sales.
Awesome.
And I really was excited to be on this show, and I subscribed to your podcast. It's wonderful, wonderful interviews. So highly recommend for you guys to go and just, instead of doing Netflix, do Jim's podcast, hit their 5 top interviews. You will get so much value for sure. So yes, I'm a true Russian American. Half of my life, I lived in Soviet Union. And right after it collapsed, I moved to America as a student in a state. So I have a perspective, as you said, on sales, on marketing, on business from 2 different perspectives. I love America. It's my stepmother who embraced me and very kind and gentle. And my own mother, Russian mother, was very rough and ruthless many times, because I didn't fit in, right? And this is what my concern about where America goes to. It's not Republican versus Democrat. concern or discussion here. It's about us hardworking people with common sense who love freedom. Like you said, Jim, we are for freedom of speech. If you disagree with me, tell me more. I want to get to know you. It's not personal. That approach versus shut up, I'm going to take you off Twitter and Facebook. And if you disagree with me, you're going to be banned from my platform, which is unfortunately not a private company. I just want to give you guys heads up. What's happening right now on social media, you have to understand they cannot be both. They cannot be a publisher and they cannot be a private platform at the same time, because they got this right to be a public platform, and they have a backup. For example, if you and I, Jim, post something on Facebook and somebody will get a lawsuit against us, Facebook will not be liable. So we give that freedom for Facebook and Twitter to be not liable what's happening on their own platform. But as soon as you and I speak up our truth at this particular moment, what and who we disagree with, somehow they banned us. So you cannot do both, number one. Number two, I want to say that I'm working with a lot of coaches. My brand is Midlife Boss. I'm teaching, helping women over 40, 45 to get to create a dream lifestyle and dream business. And so I work with a lot of coaches and a lot of course creators. And Jim, you will appreciate this. We women especially, we come as like, I just want to help. I just want to help. And this is my mission on earth, which is wonderful. But they forget one very important thing. We're all salespeople. We sell all day long, right? You are happily married. You had to sell yourself, your value to your future wife, your bride. So we sell all the time. So sales can be such a good, beautiful thing. We connecting, therefore we're selling.
Amen to that. I want to get into more of the social media perspective and some of the challenges that we're experiencing and should expect to see more of as we come. But I want to, part of sales is about having credibility in the discussion, right? Because you're an expert of what you do. And, it's one thing to say, hey, I don't like where we're headed. And it's another thing to say, you know what, I've got experience in where we're headed. And give a couple of minutes about, your background in Russia and what you experienced there, and what kind of cautionary tales do you want to share with people who may not really be aware?
Yes. So first, I'll just spend literally 2 minutes just to kind of give you entire Soviet Union history in a couple of minutes. Basically, what happened when communists took over, it was 1917. Everything what you hear right now, it sounds awesome on the paper. Like, let's forgive all the students' loans. Let's redistribute the wealth, and everybody will be happy at the end of the story. So everything what we hear right now in the media, most 99%, it sounds so good on the paper, but I lived that life. It's utopia. It is utopia. It doesn't work. And what happened, that people, most Russians, love the idea of having this fair society. And they were watching how communists went after those who disagreed with them and said, yeah, let's get rid of them. Sounds familiar. Then they went off to the most educated layers of the society because they knew more. They were more philosophical, they knew history. So they got rid of them. And the rest of the society said, oh yeah, get rid of them. They're too arrogant. They know too much, right? So we peasants, we hardworking people, we deserve better. So let's get rid of intelligent people. And then guess what, Jim? They went after Christians and everybody else. And so at the end of the story, 70 years of this regime, this communist society, leftovers were really, like my parents, they survived, my grandparents survived only because they shut up. The only way for you and me to survive in this particular atmosphere, it starts right now. If you shut up, you're not going to be banned from Facebook. If you shut up, you still can have a privilege to have Twitter account. It starts slowly like that. And right now we have a huge pressure. I lost so many friends on Facebook just because as soon as you speak up what I believe, they're like, oh my gosh, you are anti-freedom. You are anti this. Immediately I'm labeled as anti. So there's no freedom of speech, right? So this is the kind of glimpse of what is going to happen. First, they go for one layer of society. Let's say if you are anti-Trump, you are for us. if you say anything positive about Trump, let's say Trump becomes a metaphor, if we disagree about anything, Trump, the weather, the climate change, whatever it is, Christ, God versus atheism, whatever it is, right? First, we're like, hey, we're just going to remove this one little group of people and everybody, yay, awesome. But guess what? It's coming after you. Very soon it will come after you. And nothing you can do. It can be anything, whether it's your faith. Most Christians, 99.9% Christians, were deleted from earth. And I remember I was around 14 or 14 years old. I went to the library because I had this urge to find out what the Bible is all about and why the Bible is illegal in Russia if it's such a cool book, right? And my librarian pulled me aside and said, by the law, I have to report it to KGB, to the Committee of Security, the internal security, And I was like, really? So I was potentially would go to jail if I kept asking her, because I was suspicious. Immediately, I was suspicious. Maybe
Right.
I was a part of a Christian cult. So this is the kind of glimpse what is going to happen to us. And I know a lot of people say, no, it will never happen in America. Look at the Venezuela right now. It was
Right.
one of the most wealthiest countries in Latin America, and now they're on the bottom of economic and freedom range. So this is one of the examples. And number two, I want to say, Jim, I always did not belong to that society. I always felt like it just doesn't make any common sense. I didn't know that there's American freedom, there's another option, but I knew in my heart that Soviet Union is nonsense, doesn't make any sense. And so I learned very quickly that for me to survive, you have to sell. So since I was 11 years old, I would go to the black market 5 a.m. with the flashlight, dark, cold, and sell something, whether it was American jeans or makeup, something which is not available in the store, but it's available in the black market. And I remember sales, profit were prohibited words that were not allowed to be pronounced out loud. But each time I made a sale and each time I had profit, my quality of life improved. So I always was a salesperson in my heart, and always
Right.
that translates into the better quality of life and attracting better people.
Yeah, totally. And, it's interesting because I've talked to so many people who've come from similar backgrounds and environments. And it is the common thread. It's interesting because right now it's like an opposite paradigm. People in America think about socialism. They think about what it could look like because the people who are selling it to America make it sound incredible and loving and like you said, utopia. But they actually don't know because they haven't experienced it. Yet the people who come from it, they didn't know what it was called, but they lived it. So instead of, oh, here's this picture of what socialism or communism would be, you came from an environment where, you know what, I lived a life that was controlled by the government, where my freedom was constricted, where I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do, where profit and sales were bad words, where Christianity was bad words, and all of that. Now, if you agree with that perspective, it's understandable that you might think of that's okay. The challenge comes when you take when we have the perspective that free speech should be moderated, because right now what's being said you may agree with, but at some point by default and by nature it's going to come for you. Like I said, it eats what's in its path. And if you don't stand up for the people who are being eaten right now, then when it comes for you, there won't be anybody left to stand up
Exactly.
with
Jim,
you.
you're absolutely right. And this is the problem right now. If you talk to people who are on the other side of political beliefs, for example, my own family, unfortunately, I raised my children going to private Christian school and private Christian university, and still they voted for people who I don't agree. I disagree 100%, right? And so that's kind of sad. It's a sadness in my life personally. But what I am talking to my family, I'm talking to my friends who voted for this person who's coming to the White House soon. Unfortunately, for me personally, I take it. It's almost like what I'm telling my kids and my family, Jim. It's like I escaped communism. I escaped living in fear. If you say something wrong, you will be kicked out of the university. If you say something wrong, they can arrest you and put you in a crazy house. So my last 15, 20 years of my life in Russia, it was not that bad. My parents experienced the worst when people just disappeared. You wake up and your neighbor's entire family disappeared. Nobody will never ever know where they are. So when I grew up, we didn't have that. But I had a neighbor who, as soon as she disagreed with her boss and said something bad about Communist Party, she was locked in a crazy house. And so the entire neighborhood had to denounce her as a crazy lady.
Right.
And I remember before I left for America, I talked to her and she was as normal, as wise as you can be. But this is what I want to say. This communism is breathing at my neck. It's like I escaped it and it was good for a while. And now I can smell and I can feel it. It's breathing again. And there's so much grief coming personally from me, because you're right, because I lived that life. I lived that injustice, the true discrimination, the nonsense that you anywhere you go to the government office, university, you have to pretend not to be you. You have to agree with this somebody who has power over you, and that helped feeling helpless. And so one more thing I want to say is this: it's not even right now philosophically. If you look at the big picture, Jim, it's not Republicans against Democrats. It's us, hardworking people who love freedom, against elite. And elite, it's what it is. They were not just communists, they were elite. And so we developed this certain group of people in America who are elite, whether they're Republican or Democrats, both, they are elite. An example, they tell you what not to do. They limit your freedom, but it's okay for them to do. And so this wearing mask, right, in a public place, or go into the hairdresser salon, or throw in their expensive birthday party in California as a governor, who right now shut down entire economy again for the second, third time, right? That is not us against Democrat, because he happened to belong to Democratic Party, the governor of California, but it's us, hardworking people, freedom lovers, against elite. So it's okay for him to have a party in the most expensive French restaurant, but if I and you can afford the same restaurant, I can't. You see what I mean?
Right.
So this us against elite. This is it. So forget about Trump, forget about Democrats and Republicans. Wake up and think about it.
So much of that is also, it's about what's being fed. Most people, now I have probably an unhealthy relationship with the media. I consume a vast amount of news, but it's not from what's fed to me. I research. I spent a lot of time looking up articles and who's the source of a study and what activist group initiated this and I don't buy anything that the media sells me. They alert me to things, and then I go do my own research, because I want to know who's behind it. Then I can make my own opinion with my brain, right? And that's the thing that power elites fear the most, is truth and choice. They don't want people who are free thinkers, because when you're free thinkers, you ask questions. Because you ask questions, you go, this doesn't make sense. Why is that okay? What's going on over here? How do I solve that? They don't want that. They want you to go along and get along, because that's what allows them to continue to accumulate. You can't take things from people if they're all working together. If the left and the right and the middle is all working together, then there's always somebody looking out for each other. Right now, we're so busy fighting each other that they can take stuff from us and the other side just cheers it on. And so we're literally cheering for each other's destruction, which makes, like you said, the elites makes their job easy. Saying, well, let me just drop a bomb here, and then the right cheers, and they throw a bomb over there, and the left cheers. Pretty soon, they're just nothing left to bomb, because everybody's in camps and everybody's, in food lines and secluded, and you're just, now you're in a place where you've self-censored. And
yes, and Jim, the other day I was driving to the shopping center, and we have a store in Arizona, Trader Joe's. I never go there. I didn't even know, but there's a line of people now. Right. So each time I drive there, it's a line of people. And for me, people have to understand, I grew up every weekend. We didn't go to the theater. We didn't go to the movie theater. My mom would buckle me up, like in the taxi. And it was very cold. I grew up in Siberia, so it would be like 50 layers of clothes. We didn't have a car, very cold. Put us in a taxi, and we drive to this shopping, whatever, one store, not even the center. And my Sunday, if you ask me, like, how was your weekend? Well, I was in line for butter for 4 hours. And so why? Because it would give you only a half of kilogram, 500 milligram. And then she would put us on at the end of the line, and it would be another 2 hours. So it would be 4 hours on average to get 1 kilogram of butter per person. So, and when I now driving and I see Trader Joe's, I have this almost like post-traumatic syndrome, I just want to shout and scream and say, no, I promise myself I will never ever be in line to get into the grocery store. It's wrong. Something is wrong with this picture. If we are truly free and we have a free market, there's no reason, never ever, to put us in the situation, Jim, where we have to stand in line to get into the store. I don't care, virus, the pandemic, it's not that. It's somebody is enjoying controlling you, and you have to wake up and understand why. What's the agenda, right?
Totally. And they're seeing it right now. The government is learning right now how fast and how easily Americans will give up their rights. And so now they know for future what can, I'll throw myself on the sword here on this. I was a bit of a challenged youth. Most people know I grew up in an abusive environment, and I was on the streets as a teenager. And we would, if we would do some petty crimes, let's just say, if we were going to take something from you, what we would do is, if we knew there was an alarm on the house, we would do something like break a window, open it, and then run and hide and see if police showed up later. Right. So we would notice, okay, alarm went off, but if no police showed up, when we learned that it wasn't attached, it wasn't monitored, it was just a noisemaker. So then or if the cops did come, we knew, okay, it took 11 minutes for the police to show up. Okay. So we then could operate within those boundaries, either no police or police showed up at a certain time. And then we would know, okay, if we broke into this house, we knew we had 7 minutes to get in and out, etc. And so this was, it's not exact science, but it's how you observe people and process. Our government is doing the same exact thing. This exercise is showing them they don't even have to push. They only have to make you feel like you're doing good. And they can get you to willingly lay down your rights, willingly turn in other people who you supposedly love and care about, because you don't want to lose your freedom.
Absolutely, Jim. And so, true example, a couple of my very high paying clients couldn't afford my services this year. And both, the same similar story, both the husbands, owners of restaurant and coffee shop, the same story. They were upper middle class, 2019, Jim. And right now they were put on their knees. They're on the bottom of economic situation. They not only losing their business, and this time, for the second time, first time the business was shut down, they had savings. Second time their business is shut down again, middle class. We're talking about upper middle class. It's a core of our economy. It's you and me. It's people who are pushing this economy. We are innovative. We are expanding. We are providing for our families. We don't need welfare. We don't need social security, retirement. We are having our own prosperity. We're building day in and day out. We love it. We're entrepreneurs. So they are putting us, the elite are putting us on the knees. So this two families example. So now they lost their savings because they kept paying their teams, their chef, their waitresses, because they're good people like you and me, you and I. And so now they have, one family has like $200,000 debt in credit cards. Another one just filed bankruptcy. So guess what? Our next administration, they will say, okay, guys, sorry, you lost your businesses. Guess what? We're going to give you another check, maybe 2,000, 5,000. So now we're going to be depend more and more on the government, right? So first they put us on our knees, and now we have to be beggars and say, oh, can you give me not 2,000, but can you give me 5,000? Oh yeah, now you depend on me. Number one is what's happening. Wake up, people. Wake up and see what's happening. And one more thing, there is hope for us. Of course, we believe in God. Of course, we know that God is in control. That's awesome. That is huge difference between America and, let's say, Soviet Union, right? Because Soviet Union is a very atheistic society. They just deleted and destroyed everybody who believed in God. But Jim, this is the only hope for us right now, that we still have right to protect our household. We have guns that allows us to speak up, and that gives me hope that if something happens, I can protect my family, myself, not for a long time, but for a short period of time at least. Because if that goes away, then it's what happened to Venezuela. If you really look at the history, it's what happened in Soviet Union. People couldn't protect themselves. And so what does our new administration does? He's not even a president yet. He already announced that the first thing he's going to do will go after NRA, right? NRA. So this is a red flag. And again, it's not we are anti-democratic or anti-Republicans. We are against elite.
Yeah.
Now our
Well, and
current
the thing,
administration.
it's really important for people to understand this. And I know guys are showing up here for sales. Please understand you're learning sales right now. This is about influence. This is about hard sales. This is about forcing and manipulating, right? Which is what a lot of people do in sales and what a lot of people don't want to do, right? What we want to focus on here though, like my key perspective in the sales game, what I teach all the time is you don't want them to say yes. You want them to say, wow, I've never thought of it that way. And that's when you start winning people over to your way of thinking. And all I want you to do right now, I don't want you to say, yes, I agree. I don't agree. All I want you to open your mind to is, I haven't thought of it that way. And then go explore and research. Like I said, look up Venezuela. Don't just look at what the media put out. Go find unbiased articles, find studies, find things on both sides. If you can't find unbiased stuff, go find things on both sides and then use your brain to make decisions. Because I have had so many conversations. Most of the people in our business world think opposite to me politically and socially. Yet I still have a respect of a lot of them because I don't hate and I don't attack people. I ask and I talk and we engage and we find out that we want so many of the same things. We just have different ideas of how to get there, and we've been fed two different lines of truth. The people, the mainstream media is controlling a certain narrative, other medias are controlling a different narrative, and they're only feeding the social media is only feeding us what they think we need. And so we misunderstand each other all the time, and the only way we're going to bridge that gap is by asking questions of each other, showing up, assuming the best of the other person, asking what's going on and figuring out, how do I get to understand that person? Right? I took debate. I was a debater in high school. And one of the things that we used to do in debate, which they don't do anymore, ironically, is they used to make us, we would pick a topic that we were passionate about, and they would have us argue the other side of it. Right. So if I was like at the time, I remember one debate that I did was when, again, 1987, but when the first $1 million baseball player, Bobby Bonilla, signed a contract, I was for it. I thought this is awesome because athletes can make whatever they want. And there were other people. The other side of the argument was, why should they make $1 million if a paramedic makes $30,000 here when they're saving lives? Right. So I had to argue that side of the equation. I had to argue against why a baseball player should make $1 million. And when paramedics did, I don't believe in that. I believe everybody should have the opportunity. But I had to make that argument. So I had to be sympathetic. I had to listen. I had to say, okay, how, I never thought of it that way. So then I could put myself in a position of seeing all of the facts and accounting for all of the feelings, and then making the decision that's best. Instead of just going, that's my side, therefore I agree, or that's stupid, it couldn't be right, and then attacking people. And that's all I'm seeing right now is just nothing but attacks and attacks and attacks. And I want to shift this conversation now. As a business owner, I have a delusional sense of self. I believe that the business owner, American business owner, it's all my experience. I don't have too much experience with business owners in other countries, but we're going to save the world because we're going to ask questions. We're going to innovate. We're going to lean on God. We're going to believe
Absolutely.
the best of people. We're
Absolutely.
going to make
We are
changes.
innovators. Yes, Jim, we are innovators. And this is what's scary. So again, let's forget about politics, but people who are, let's say, hair salon, right? Hair salon owners, spas, just like drive by and look around how many of those smaller businesses shut down, restaurants, coffee shops. Right. It is so sad. Commercial real estate. So those people are right now, they are filing bankruptcy. They cannot be on their own. And this is so wrong. This is absolutely against what America stands for. We are self-efficient people. We're self-reliant people. America, when I moved to this country, I was all about statistics and I looked at the numbers. Americans, I am Russian American, we donate more money than all countries together. So if you put all country in the world, how much money they donate, America one country beats all of them together. I don't know right now, but I was always wanted to adopt a child from Russia. It was shut down in the middle of my paperwork. And I always remember the number, Jim. We adopt overseas. We bring kids from overseas. We adopt more kids than, again, every country combined. So we have this big heart. We're givers because we can afford it. We are providers for our families. And I always, when I moved to this country, I was not a Republican or Democrat, but I remember I was listening to National Public Radio, and I'm like, that sounds familiar. It's just like I can smell propaganda. I can smell agenda, and that's why I was not born Republican, but I knew that the other party is all about really similar to what communists believed, right? To manipulate, to use media for their own interest, not for people's interest, and to limit people's freedom, because free people, we are unstoppable. But as soon as we're bent over, literally, we are forced to be bankrupt. And then they give us a little bit of $600 here, shut up, just take $600, be happy. Yeah. That is the beginning of collapse of freedom and free market. And that's scary.
Totally. We have to be able, you shouldn't ever be forced to your knees. You should only be on your knees when you're worshiping God. And, it shouldn't be to worshiping man. It sure as heck should not be to kiss the ring so that you can get your meager, your allotment. Here's your rations. And that should never be. That is completely anti-American. To me, it's anti-human. And we need to be at a place that the difference is we need to be at a place where the people come together to make it happen, not the government taking it from us so that they can do something with it. Because we, it's just like the government trying to take care of schools, and we know how to take care of your kid. It's like, you don't love my child the way I love my child, and you never will. Let people take care of their children. Let the teachers teach, right? Let the police officers enforce the law. Don't make them responsible for solving every problem, and then chastising them and attacking them when they do it wrong. I'm not condoning any violence or anything like that, but they have far too many things that they're responsible for, and they're not experts at all of it, right? And this is just one example. That's how you get a big government. You just start getting more roles, more funding, more people, and taking it from everybody, and then everybody's paying all their money. When I'm showing up to work to give 60 to 80% of what we make to the government, that's a problem. That should never be. And so that's why I'm so adamant about what we do. And we teach people to take control of their environment. You need to be able to make money. You need to be able to win and earn. It's not about the money, but we have to understand that money gives you choices. Money gives you options. Money gives you freedom. If you are not a responsible business owner that is taking initiative to maximize your ability to earn and use your business as a tool for good, then you are being irresponsible.
Yes, Jim, and I think this is solution. Our dialogue here, our discussion comes to the solution, and solution is, you're right, all of us, even if you right now, let's say you said you're a teacher. I was a teacher in Russia. It's one of those jobs where you really belong to the government, obviously, and trade unions here are very, very strong. So this is the solution. I talk to my relatives who are teachers. Start creating your own business on the side, whether it's tutoring, whether it's online courses of all your expertise packed as online course, but do it now. So this is our goal and our mission. All of us, all people who care about freedom and who have self-respect. That self-respect is still here. Nobody can take it away from me. So we need to create as many businesses, as many sources of income as you can, whether it's restaurant or you're a teacher or a restaurant owner, because when it happens, when elite comes up to you, you say, go get lost. Seriously, you have that freedom to say no. Even I shut my restaurant, I have my 5 other sources of income. So this is the way how we can, like people, like you said, panicking, or people full of fear. What shall I do? What shall I do? The only thing you can do, you can take full responsibility and continue expanding your character and continue, connecting to that fire in you and say, nobody can take that self-respect from me. Nobody can make me so fearful that I will bend over and I will beg the government, please don't give me 600, give me 6,000, because 600 is not enough. I have 4 children, Jim. Right. I have a big family. $600 per person is a joke, right? I don't even need it. And when I received it, I have this a bad feeling that is just like one of those things like, now you owe me. No, we don't owe anything to elite. Let them be. They go to the French restaurant while they're telling you that you need to hide in your house. You're not allowed to bring your relatives to celebrate Thanksgiving, while they're doing the opposite.
That's so good. I want to jump in on that too. Is no matter what your needs are, right? I have a friend who had $100,000 note to their bank that was due, and they're in Canada, and they have the government offer them a bailout. But then they were going to be beholden. The government will then be able to tell them how they run their business. And so instead, what he did is he went out on Facebook and on YouTube to his following. He had a very big following, and asked for help. He said, if you're willing to invest in our business or make loans to our business at this rate, you can save us. And this is what our promise is to you. If you do this, this is how we will support you with how we show up. And I thought, man, that's a bold ask. But how many people would do that? Just ask people, guys. There are many, many, many people who are doing well right now. We have tons of clients who've had the best year of their life in 2020. And it's our obligation and our duty to help each other. And so while we're in a high tide and high season, we're here to help people. We're trying to find people we can invest in or partner with or provide resources for, pick each other up while they're in a struggling season. So it's two-way street. One, look for people to help. And two, if you need help, ask it. Don't take your handouts from the government. I don't want their freaking money.
Jim, we have to rise up right now. And this is why you're listening to this podcast. Answer this one question. What happened to us Americans? What happened and when happened to us Americans that we started waiting for some hands down, right? Like Social Security. Well, I'm not going to invest in my 401k. I'm not going to create 5 sources of income because they will come and rescue me. When do we agree to this global universal healthcare? Right. Why do you need to come and tell me what to do and how to do it and not to do and how to run my life? But in exchange, you will take care of my parents. I brought my parents, it's a beautiful story, not because of me, because of this American freedom. When I brought my parents, I sponsored them. I was an American citizen. My dad was 60 years old. He worked hard all his life. He was a driver for the government company and never ever could afford his car. And Jim, I knew that his dream since he was a little boy to have a car, 60 years old. So I got him some secondhand car, and I gave him the key. He was crying like a baby. He's like, I understand what America's all about. Olga, you're here only for a few years and you can afford a second car. I worked for 45 years in Russia, Soviet Union, couldn't afford even one car. He couldn't understand that right away, right? So what I'm saying is when I heard from my friends like, the government will take care of my parents' Social Security, I always said, no, give me freedom to be me. Give me freedom to breathe. Don't tell me what to do every 5 minutes, and I will provide for my neighbors. I will provide for my parents and grandparents. I don't need your Social Security thing. I don't need anything from you. I don't need your universal healthcare. I'll buy healthcare for everybody. And when my dad unfortunately got diagnosed with cancer, it's exactly what I did. I bought him the most expensive private insurance, and we hired and fired many, many different cancer specialists, and we prolonged his life for another 8 years after this. Medicare told him that call hospice. Basically, Medicare said call hospice, and after that, because of the private care and our initiative, he lived another 8 years. Just to give you an example, right? Comparing apples to apples. What do you want? Do you want that government, the elite tell your father hospice? Hospice means he's going to live maybe 2 more weeks. Versus no, have the freedom to buy your own insurance, just go shopping, and he can live another 8 years. This is what I'm telling you, people. It's not vote Democrat or vote Republican, vote against elite, smell elite. Even if it sounds so awesome and sexy on the paper, it's elite. They've taken your freedom away in the name of justice and tolerance, whatever they preach day in and day out.
And believe the best in the people around you, and look at people on the other side and say, you know what, that's a smart person who I know cares about people. What would make them think the things they're thinking, and give them benefit. Try and find out what's going on and how they would come to the conclusions that they are, instead of just assuming that they're the enemy, because they're not. The only enemy that we've got here is Satan. He's the one that's got everybody on their knees, hating and attacking each other. All he wants to do is get us focused on each other instead of God, and that's what happens. And everybody's going nuts. And we need to be. We have to recognize that everybody is not designed to be able to lead their way out of this, right? So every single one of you is a leader in a community, whether it's in your neighborhood, in your family, in your business, in the company that you work with. You are designed to be a solution maker. Find the solution
Yeah,
for the
amen to
people
that.
around you,
Yeah,
and then be the one to lead them out, so that we can
absolutely.
become self-sufficient and reliant on each other as a community, instead
Yeah.
of on the government.
So get that power back. That power you gave away to the party of your choice, to elite, in the name of the pandemic, in the name of virus, in the name of save your neighbor. I will be able to save my neighbor by bringing her organic produce, make sure that her immune system is stronger, versus them not seeing her for 6 months just because she's not supposed to see other humans. You know what I mean? And
Right.
my hugs will give her more health than no hugs for 6 months. I mean, stuff like that is just ridiculous. And what I want to say is this: we Americans have a privilege. We still have a free country, the most free country on earth. And we need to rise up, and we need to claim that power back. And as a life coach, I just want to bring one more kind of like metaphor or picture. Jim, this is what the problem. Let's say my daughter, which is true story, she's 22. She graduated from college and I paid for her. It's a private university. But imagine if she had a student loan, and now the government says, hey, don't worry, we're going to pay your student loan. What's happening is, just think about it psychologically, that you and me paid our debts from 20 to 30. We hustled. We paid our debts. My husband had a huge student loan. I didn't, because I came from Russia with a degree, but we paid his $35,000 first 5 years of our marriage. Then we paid our cars off. Then we got our house. So that 10 years between 20 and 30 is so crucial for your character development, for adulting. Now we have this new word, adulting. So if that is taken away from you and you don't go through this character development and getting really resilient and getting tough, and like, what are you made of? If you don't learn that, if you don't have that period of time in your life where you're learning what I'm made of, what I'm capable of, and it's removed from you in the government name. Oh, don't worry, Jim, you have student loan, here, we're going to pay for you. Oh, you need medical care? Oh, we're going to pay for your medical care. It's your right, Jim. So we're going to be mushy amoebas, little softy toys,
Right.
puppets, and they will be pulling those strings for the rest of your life. Do you want that for you? If you do, then of course there's nothing to talk about. But if you have that sense, like maybe the glimpse of hope, maybe I can be my own person, my own leader, like you said, self-leadership. Maybe I don't need hands down. Maybe I can have $1 million business. Yes, you can. It's America, right?
Yep.
American dream is alive. And Jim, it's true story. I came to this country with $400, true story, in my pocket, in my jeans. And I remember I took $100 and put it in my socks because somebody told me they can take it away from me. So I was like really cautious. $400. Within 5 years, I had real estate investment. I worked for the biggest corporation, and they told me they will never hire me because I was, my accent, I'm not from here, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, American dream is alive. From $400 to $1 million plus real estate investment portfolio. Wonderful job with all the benefits. Brought my parents sponsored, bought my parents a house. Not because I'm a genius, because I just took advantage of this freedom. Maybe, unfortunately, most Americans who were born here allowed themselves to be brainwashed, maybe. I say this with compassion. I'm not judging anybody, but maybe that's why guys who are born here, you are born here, maybe you take this freedom for granted, where I come from different angle. We are so lucky, like I can go on and on. Like recently I had a discussion with my client that she's like, oh, all men are bastards and all men are such a bad people. And I said, you don't know what you're talking about. If I compare Russian man to American man mentality, I can say that American men are the best men in the world, like masculine, American masculine. which is beaten up every day, it's another
Right.
discussion. That is
Correct.
still the best in the world, the best quality of people here, right?
Yeah.
So let's claim that.
Well, adversity is the key to winning. You have to be able to adversity. You have to be able to learn how to move through adversity so that you learn the limits of your strengths so that you can grow them, right? Because if you're never in a situation that you have to overcome, you never know what you're capable of, and then you're
Absolutely.
always live in the middle, and you never get
Yeah.
out on the edge to try to grow yourself.
And then
That
you
you
will
know
never
that
have compassion. Yeah, Jim, and
totally
then you will never have compassion for others. So right now, if you lock me down, if you remove my voice from all the social media, for example, you will rejoice for 5 minutes. But guess what? It's going to happen to you because you never ever experienced this. Now it's coming after you. It's coming after you. You will be persecuted for whatever you believe they don't agree.
right.
It doesn't have to be political. It can be anti-vaccination for vaccination, against gay for gays. It can be anything. You will be divided and divided and divided and divided to the point where nobody will have a voice left. Only elite, only chosen ones. Communists in Russia had black cars, the best black cars, the most luxurious one. You know, funny story, I didn't know how elite they were. My best girlfriend got married to a communist leader in my region, his son. So my girlfriend got married. She had the privilege. She was beautiful. And she got married to this elite family. And she said, Olga, do you know they have 2 bathrooms? Jim, nobody in my life, nobody had 2 bathrooms in the house or apartment. It's always 1 bathroom enough, good enough.
Right.
They dared to have 2 bathrooms. They were elite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like things like that. They had cars. My dad worked hard, never ever had a car. So it's gonna happen to us, guys. Elite. They already have parties without masks, hairdos without mask. You and I have to wear a mask, and we are not allowed to celebrate Thanksgiving with our family. Think about it.
Right. So we got to wrap this up. So how does the midlife boss solve this problem? How do you show people that they can take control, be the master of their own domain, build them up so that they can help others?
Absolutely. It's an excellent question. So number one, you need to start practicing self-awareness. Every hour, go on your phone, put the alarm, and let this alarm ring every hour, and ask yourself, where am I? Who am I listening? What do I believe? Why do I believe? Is it my truth? What is my truth? What? Just listen to your heart, to your intuition, to God in you, right? That spirit in you. Listen to that the voice may be very, very quiet first, but allow that voice to be louder and louder. It's a voice of your common sense. So I think that one is so important. Just really go inward first before like, oh, I want to change the world. Start with your own inner world. What are you standing for? What you're standing against? And is it because somebody told you to believe that? Don't believe their words. Look at their actions. They tell you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but they do celebrate without masks in their private party. So judge people, not what they say to you, what they do, right? Number one. Number two is, yes, you are the boss of your own life. You are building your own environment. You are attracting people like-minded. So take responsibility for that. If you are miserable right now and you blame on Trump, ask yourself, what would make you feel better? Like, what is there missing in your life? So don't give power outside Trump or Biden or a specific party. Go inward and find out what would make a difference. What would make you feel like, oh, it's my place. It's mine. That's not mine. This is mine. And of course, talking about business, Jim, we need to really rise up above give me. What can I give? What value can I bring? You're a teacher, start tutoring on the side. Start volunteering, and then convert those people who you maybe help for free. Say, now I'm charging $45, $55 an hour. Create a course. So basically what I'm teaching women after 40, 45, we all have life experience or expertise. Let's monetize that. Monetize means let's package that as an online course, for example, and teach women behind you, the next generation behind me, what to do, not to do, that they can learn from our mistakes. So create 2-3 sources of income. As soon as you have profit, reinvest this. I love real estate. It's very, very simple. Go to your agent and try to figure out what you can buy today less than the value. People are divorcing, people are moving. You always can get a property for 10, 15,000 less than the market price. And that is your already initial investment, which is already going to be below the market level. So, there are so many things you can do, but yes, claim your power and start attracting money. Like you said, money is a high energy. Start swimming in this abundance. Connect your money abundance with your spiritual abundance. Just be you. Allow yourself to be you, and stop giving power away. Like nobody can empower you because you already have that power in you. So I can empower you. Jim cannot empower you by teaching you how to sell. You have to claim that power first, and then we're gonna kind of like guide you and coach you to the right way to go. But it starts with you. Did I answer your question? I tried to be as specific as possible, but start with self-awareness. Seriously, we need to wake up. Most of us are half asleep. We need to wake up, because if we're not awake, we can't change anything.
Amen. And don't look for the easy way, guys. Look for the right way, right? When things are right, they're right because they're right. That's it. Doing the right thing is always the right thing. And so look for what's going to give you the best opportunity to succeed, not the thing that's going to make your life the easiest, right? Because those are not the same thing. And we want you to be in control and in charge, and look for other people to help and serve, because people need you. This conversation happened because I was speaking up. I was sharing my thoughts, my opinions, and Olga chimed in, and we just, it's like and vice versa, right? I am amazed at how many times my voice speaking into a situation, sharing what I believe about whether it's God or the economy or the culture. I speak up, and then somebody else reaches out and like, man, I'm so glad you said that, because I didn't know if anybody else thought like
Absolutely.
me.
We attract each other. You will attract. Don't be afraid that as soon as you speak up, as soon as you claim your power, you will be lonely. No, maybe you will repel those people who were in your environment, and it's okay. They can come back. Your door is open, but you will attract a better value people, high value people, and low maintenance people. This is our goal. Enough of those,
Yes.
people we have to deal with, right? Enough of that. They need to grow up too.
So we want to send some high value people to you, and anybody listening here. How do they get connected with you?
Yes, so please connect with me on Facebook. It's Midlife Boss. Just type Midlife Boss. If you are my female friend here, you're welcome to join my group, Midlife Boss Facebook group. Please come over. You don't have to be 40 plus. We have plenty of younger ladies, because they come with this agenda like, hey, I want to learn from your mistakes. I was like, yes, please. I share openly. And if you're my male friend, just let's follow each other on Facebook, Midlife Boss or Olga Szakal, and my website, which I am, of course, we're all changing into a little bit different message, midlifeboss.com.
Yeah, and all of those links are in the show notes. Make sure you go in the show notes, find all the resources there, check her out, say hello, let her know that you heard her on the podcast, and engage. Challenge her ideas, challenge her thoughts, ask for support. That's what we're here for. So, all of my ideas, I think they're all great until somebody challenges them, and now I have to defend my ideas. And when I defend my ideas, then I recognize that they're either strong or they need to be stronger, or they're, so I always welcome that. And I know Olga does too. I mean, just hearing her story and where she's been through, she can handle somebody challenging her idea. Right? That's the smallest thing that she's had to deal with in her life. And you need to be the same way. Stand tough, stand firm in what you believe, because we got your back. If nobody else does, I believe in you. Right. And I want you to win. And I'm here to help you do it with whatever that I can. But I can't help you if I don't know where you are. Right. So reach out, say, let's go do this. Take control of your life. Take ownership. Get yourself firm, strong, and tall, so that you can then be serving the people around you, which is what you were put on this planet to do. So thanks so much for sharing your story and just being here, and just very inspiring, what you're doing and what you've accomplished. And I look forward to, the second half. You got so much more to do.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Okay, guys, we'll see you on the next round. Let us know what you think, and let us know who else is a great topic for you. What else you want us to be talking about? Obviously, sales is always the name of the game, but sales, remember, master self, master sales. So we want to be talking about all the things that are going to help you be a better you so that you can serve people powerfully. Right. Thanks for trusting us to be part of your success team, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Make More Sales podcast. If you like what you're hearing, you'll definitely want to check out our Make More Sales Facebook group, where you'll find more amazing content, including free sales training and live content happening every single week. So make sure to follow the link below to join. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show, and share it with your friends. That way, more people can learn how to make more sales without getting better at selling. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.